The local politicians felt that what Donald Trump was doing was very anti-capitalistic, very hypocritical, a politician trying to direct where capital and investment should go. I think that's akin to a banana republic. We are outside of one of 4 Carrier plants where they manufacture heating and air conditioning equipment. This is one of the older ones. We're here for TV reasons because you can see it from the street. The new plant that Donald Trump is so critical of is in one of the huge industrial parks that are all over this area, that this area of Mexico has tried to attract, where you'll see many, many American companies here. So union workers in the United States are very critical of the moves of the work of jobs to Mexico. We spoke with the head of one of the local unions here, the Secretary General of the local union, Alberto Serna de Leon. His union has nearly 100,000 members who make 1,800 pesos a week. That's about $120. He started out as the equivalent of a Teamster here in Mexico. He didn't criticize Donald Trump at all. He said, I get it. His point is valid. He wants to keep jobs in America, and he almost seemed to appreciate the attitude. However, and it was a big however, he said, I don't think it's going to work. Investors aren't going to accept lower margins. What's he talking about? When you look at wages, there's a huge differential here in Mexico compared to the United States. Conference Board says last year, hourly manufacturing union jobs, more than $37 per hour when you include benefits. Here in Mexico, less than $6 per hour. One of the reasons why a lot of manufacturing jobs have moved south. Now, this was what was interesting. The Secretary General of the union said this when I asked him, doesn't it bother you that you're taking other union members' jobs? And he said, listen, in our negotiations, we try to wear the shirt of the investor, because without investors, there are no businesses, and without businesses, there are no workers. So that's how we think about it. And then he wanted to say, he said, look, I know from their point of view, this is very, very tough, but please tell them that the companies here, they respect workers' rights. These are very good jobs with very good salaries and very good working conditions. So from one union member to another, there's a huge disparity in the wages and a disparity in the productivity levels as well, as a lot of economists will point out. But certainly these are jobs that the union workers here don't want to see leave, just like those there.
Interesting that he says he wears the shirt of the investor, taking a really pro-capitalist stance when union leaders, of course, are often head-to-head with management over wages.
Super interesting. I think, Melissa, it may be because for years this country was, decades, was dominated by union workers. I mean, the Mexican oil company Pemex was essentially created to employ union workers, and they've been working so hard to change the attitude that you've got to have investors. It can't just be all for the laborer, because then eventually the laborers don't have any jobs. I think it's because they lived under a lot of socialism for a very long time here, and it didn't work.
What is the mood down there as they got news that these jobs weren't going to come there?
So the governor of the state, during a news conference yesterday about something unrelated, said he thought that Mexicans should no longer cross the border and go shopping in the United States, which is a very common thing to do. There were a couple of local politicians who said, this is akin to a banana republic. This is what the Americans used to criticize about Latin America and Mexico, politicians telling businesses what to do. It feels like, the shoe is now on the other foot. Yeah. Bemusement, anger, incredulity, combination of all those things.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.